Oh, look at this. I'm live. I didn't even realize. Let's listen to this last spot. This is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Oh, yeah, my doggy is good morning, good morning. It's 6:30. It's July 22nd. This is what I do. I don't listen to CNBC. I don't listen to Bloomberg. I don't listen to Fox Business, even though I'm on Fox Business a lot. I listen to music. I drink my iced coffee, and I run through 40 charts after reading all my macro notes, and I put together my morning game plan. Hopefully that's what you do, because if you're listening to the idiots on TV every day, chances are you're going to have opinions, you're not going to make money, and you're also not going to enjoy yourself, right? My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. I'm the founder of Red Dog Mindset. I just did a really nice workout. I feel good. I was in my sauna with over 200 people. They weren't all in the sauna with me. They were just, doing a workout with me online where we get a little sweat out, talk a little bit about life, talk about what's been going on, look into the week, while we're listening to some cool music and sweating it out a little bit. And then I get in my ice barrel and boom, boom, boom. Here I am at 6:30. So if you've been, following the 6:30 Club since 2020, because that's where it's been from, and you've got a little bit of value because it's been free for 5 years, what you should do is subscribe above so that you know how to execute with confidence. A lot of people look at the same charts, but people don't have the right mindset to think clearly, to do the right trade, the right thing at the right time, put their mindset in a way to control what they can control. But anyway, let's talk about today. Enough about that. Yesterday, a little bit of a topping tail, not the end of the world. Look where we were extended from the 8th day. All I know is right around 11 o'clock, the market's up like 300 points. And all of a sudden, my P&L starts going lower. And I say to everyone, I'm like, things feel weird. I'm like, I made money for 17 out of 17 days, which was great. I'm like, I have too many positions on. I'm like, I got to start paring some things down, time of year, just in case, didn't give her, a lot of the trade didn't change on some of the things, but I was just like, I got to just reduce. Even if we just pull back to here, it's better to sell some strength so you could buy a dip. We've been doing that pretty much this entire trend. This is when this this active sequence got reactivated on June 23rd. That was a great date. I think so. June 23rd up till almost a month. This has been a fantastic month active sequence. And even if you reduced into strength here, you had a way to cover some of your hedges. It held the 21-day and continued. So you got to manage the trade with the tier system. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, when did this sequence really start? Well, if you look really here at the chart, everyone's talking about the V's and the W's and the this and the that. Everyone's so worried or upset about the way this happened. But the bottom line is, this was your low. Then you had your higher low. Really, it was right here where the active sequence started. And this was your confirmation of it on April 30th. So really, since April 30th, we've been trying to be actively long. And I know that a lot of people from the Alpha team and Redler All Access and all of you guys here have done very, very well. So I'm proud of you. Proud of you for pushing the keys. I'm proud of you for working on yourself and just keeping the balance. I know I got a lot of balance in the last 2 weeks. I've been traveling the damn country with Chase playing basketball, and I've been spending my time at Outbacks and Buffalo Wild Wings. So I'm pulling it in a little bit because I have a whole nother end of the summer. So I did I'm in the middle of my 24-hour fast and no alcohol for a bunch of days and gonna get myself situated. So whenever you find yourself out of balance too, you got to figure out, some things you got to do to get back in balance. But anyway, market was a tiny bit out of balance, and we're not down much this morning. SPYs are down 64 cents. Hey, so again, if you sold, so if you shorted some or put on some hedges here, you cover some, and I would think that everything, doesn't change much, unless we kind of get a really hard trade below 625, and then that's still what's this low here? This low is 626.46 really. So 626. Let's put that in there. So anyway, with that being said, trend has been really strong. IWMs, I think, are just tough. We caught a nice trade in the IWMs a month or so ago, and I really haven't gotten back since. Some guys bought back the Red Dog reversal here, but it's just choppy. This was really my best trade in the IWM. After it broke this downtrend, this was your buyable move. It got above 215, and I think we were selling options up to there. But anyway, same thing with XBI. I'm not that interested anymore. We were positioning here for a catch-up trade above 86, got to the 89 area, which I thought was the target, and now it's just like sloppy. So I don't need to be in things that aren't like A's or A plus trades anymore, because I just don't need the risk. How highs of the year? It's July 22nd. Going to try and relax a little bit this summer coming up. I'm going to Mattatuck with a bunch of friends and families, and then we're going to Montauk with a bunch of friends and families. And I want to do a lot of exercise, and I want to have August for the dog and for you guys. So think about doing some things this summer that make yourself happy, because life's way too short. Anyway, look at this Amazon. Who's been with Amazon with me? Amazon, yippee, yippee. Anyway, last time we talked about it, I was buying Amazon into this 222 spot, bought stock, bought options, and I still have stock and options. It's working well. I reduced a little bit yesterday. Google, what a friggin' trade. We've been in Google right here. This is when I started buying Google. I'm like, you know what? I can't be buying strength in Google anymore. It's just out of character. There's no momentum there. So started buying here with my first target of the 181s, sold into that on the pullback, rolled into higher options, ever roll up options. So this way you take money off the table and you buy a higher strike for less equity, and then boom, I sold it all into yesterday. Doesn't mean it's done. It just means that this just gave me one of my pre-earnings moves, before earnings tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to wait and see what I want to do. I didn't take Netflix into the numbers. I didn't take any of the banks, and I've saved myself a lot of, option stress. But anyway, Tesla is interesting to me because it's very tight. It's very hated. I didn't buy it yesterday at 338. What I might do today is I might, just because, Red Dog, Tesla, I've had so many awesome sequences in Tesla. I might buy the 350 calls. Right now, Tesla, is it down still a little bit? It's at 327. It was a 338 yesterday. What I might do is I might buy, I'm going to do a call spread. I'm definitely going to do a call spread just to have, I have some money to burn or it works. So what would I do? This is 367. So the way I frame it, so 367 would be a spot that if all of a sudden he talks about not doing a political party, he talks about AI and all that kind of stuff, you could probably buy the 350s and sell the 365s. And that's not even really a lotto spread. That's like a realistic spread. Some people are like, I'm buying the 365 that's going to 401, fill in the gap. I'm like, whatever, you could do that. I'm going to probably do 350 by 365. So if it does really work, it'll be maxed out and I won't have to think about it. But anyway, I haven't done an option strategy. And I've been making a lot of money on options, just because the right plays have been working. We've made a ton in this FXI. FXI, we were starting buying the calls in here literally for dirt. And now it looks like it's ready to take out this 38.73. I'm going to sell, I'm probably going to sell a little bit more. That was a great trade. Even this Tiger got upgraded today. We'll see what happens there. I guess somebody knew about it there. We were buying these things for like pennies on the dollar into this spot. Okay. And, looks like it's heading higher. Options on Amazon, options on Google. And then everyone's like, well, Red Dog, the drone names pulled in yesterday. I'm like, guys, you have to use your cheer system. We were buying ACHR at 1050. ACHR hit 1350. Okay, and I showed you guys. I'm like, boom. So what did it do? It went to the 8-day. So what's Red Dog going to do? I'm going to reaccumulate it into this 1130 area. And it shouldn't really break that. Hopefully we get like a Red Dog reversal and rebuild here before going again. But from down here where we accumulated, that was a huge winner. Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing with UMAC. We were buying it down here. Huge winner. I sold like almost 80% of this stuff, so I'm going to buy back a little bit just to stay engaged. I don't think it's done. A little broken below the 8-day, but I think it'll hold in here and then continue. As far as other things, guys like, well, Red Dog, Rumble pulled in. I mean, we were buying rum at 9.25. You were able to sell some at 1070 yesterday, and now you could buy some back. So anyway, we were buying it in here when the chart was looking ready to go, added. Why not trim some into resistance? Anyway, I did trim a bunch into resistance, so now I'm going to buy some back in here and continue to manage the trade. And if the trade gets worse, then I'm going to get away from it. It's no big deal. ASTS, again, look at Look at the red dog reversal sell there. Remember, we were buying this. I was talking to you guys about buying it into the 21-day, buying options, buying stock. Well, guess what? Look at the size of that move. Why not sell, especially when you get a red dog reversal sell when you're that extended from the 8-day? You guys got to learn how to manage your damn positions and not cry about it. Jeez. Anyway, what a great trade. I'd love to be. I'll probably be buying back some more into this 54 area. Some guys like, what about Grab? Grab looks like it's working its way to 572. I have no idea why it was at 590 last night, so I bought a little bit more this morning. Look at Grab on the weekly chart. The weekly chart looks pretty sick. Looks like there's room to, 7.25. This has been unbelievable. This was taken public back here the same time Dash was. Now it's been under accumulation. It does look like there's room there. I'm in options and stock. My money's where my mouth is. Dash has been the best thing ever for my community. I brought this to the table here around 144, thinking you can get back to there, and look at that. Another nice bull flag on the weekly. Beautiful cup and handle. This stock made my community millions. I wish it made me millions. It made me good money, not millions. I didn't have enough of it, but guys I know made these gajillions in Alpha Team. And it was a great new name. New names happen. And anyway, looks like it's setting up again above the 8-day, and chances are it probably takes out this 257 at some time in the fourth quarter. But doesn't mean Grab's going to do it. It's just, it's looking kind of cool down here, and I think there's room. So we'll see. People are asking me now about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is fine. Bitcoin's been consolidating. Bitcoin had a huge move. We've had lots and lots and lots of great action with Bitcoin. Sometimes it has to consolidate. It's not always a grand slam momentum trade. I'm still in IBIT. I don't have options on right now. I think it's holding in just fine. This is a nice looking bull flag, right? I said I want to buy more into the 115, 116 area. Well, guess what? It just held the 115, 116 area. Same way here, we're buying a ton. My thought was it was going to take out 112 and see 120. Well, it went to 123. And you remember, we did that during July 4th. Pre-July 4th, I'm like, we're going to have a July 4th Bitcoin. Came back from July 4th, and everyone's like, Red Dog, you were wrong. I'm like, well, we're still hanging here, right? It was right around July 5th, July 6th, and you had more time to buy more. And now we'll see. It looks like it's not over. Could take out 123 and continue. So figure that out. I do think Ethereum put a short-term top in, just because of how extended it is. So maybe Bitcoin acts a little bit better. We did awesome with the $22 calls. That was the setup. Sometimes it's a setup, and sometimes it's just trade management. Now we'll see what would be good to buy back. You know what? I would probably start buying Ethereum back closer to 29.23 if you want to write that down. That's right here. A little bit of a topping tail, and then this would be 27.84. By that point, the 8-day will have caught up. We'll feel a little extended. All right, so my dogs are asking me if they could talk. They want to talk. You guys want to talk? Let's see. All right, let's go here. So Wolf of Round Street says, what about Bull? Bull was a great trade. I got rid of the rest of it. Hold on. How did that? So you go Bull right here. Great trade, but for me, I got out of it. I was buying it here. I sold it into like 15 plus. Looks like they're doing a money raise. I would think it could go again. This is like how many money raises do these guys need to do? I think if you manage it, right, or this was at 11.84. Why wouldn't you sell some into $17? So now you could buy some back. Maybe get a little bit of a bull flag and can continue to the upside. A lot of people love this platform, and I think it's it's something to have on the radar. It shouldn't be an over focus, but it looks fine. GME popped yesterday. It did. I bought some options in GME yesterday. This stock is horrendous. This stock moves at times. They talked about selling. They have so much money and they have no business that the only thing they can do is buy crypto. So they made that news right here. They haven't really talked about how much crypto they bought, and Bitcoin was below 80. So I'm thinking maybe they come out and say something. So I bought a little options. I'm not in the stock. I bought a little bit of options. They're very cheap, just in case it wants to fill this gap towards 27.50. A little bit of a wake-up candle yesterday. I'm not going to play this stock. I play this 5 times a year. So I did buy some yesterday. It's not doing anything this morning. It's only down a penny. So, maybe there's a trade there. But again, that's what we're looking for, some trades. Oklow's been awesome. A lot of people do making a ton of money there. Yesterday, put a topping tail in a big one. A lot of these spec names did that. That's why you got to buy them right? Got to buy them when it takes out an area. This is when we were buying Oklo, and then a lot of people got out yesterday. I think there was some news this morning. Let's see, it should be up, I would think. Yeah, it's up 10 cents. But again, you guys know what a red dog reversal is, right? Red dog reversal is a trades through an area, right? Doesn't hold it, so you reduce on day 1, 2, 3, 4. So combine your tactics with your day count rules, and maybe you'll use a tier system and get out of things and book money and stay with them. Anyway, that's why I did Red Dog Mindset. You guys are too focused on the X's and O's and on all the financial networks out there instead of focused on your charts, your tier system, your day count rules, everything to do. But anyway, gold looks good. I have some gold options on. Nice. Last time I had it as a power play was right here. I called a short-term top, and it's been a top for 3 months. Then right around here, I started buying options, and I think it could break out. Silver looks pretty good. Someone asked me if I could look at AEM, which is a miner. I haven't looked at this thing in a long time. Ooh, it's a nice, looks like kind of like gold, I guess. I don't love these things, but sometimes you don't have to love it. You can just look at the chart and say, hey, this seems like if gold's going to go again, why can't this take out 126.64? So you know what? I might put some calls on just to be social. This is AEM. I'm sure there are a bunch of them that look that good. Looks pretty good. WRD was a good trade. Kind of perked up again, not a focus. From 820, I was talking about it, and it went as high as $10 yesterday. That's a great trade. This morning, I'm not doing anything with it. Open had a big move. Big. How could you have played this move? Well, got back above all the moving averages right here. That was your spot to buy it. And then into this loose and wide stretch, your spot to sell it. Lots of different things going on. Listen, guys, Scott, I bought SPY calls out to September, and it did 2 days before the 10% up day. Those calls are up 420%. That's good. I'm glad you're making money. You push the keys. Mister's tough. Mister, I had some MSTU on last week, and it stopped me out. I just think this is getting kind of hard here. Ethereum is actually, not Ethereum. Bitcoin is consolidating better. If you look at this chart of Mister, this is tough. It looked like a bull flag, and then all of a sudden broke below it. Here, it kind of lagged the move also in crypto. So I am not I've done okay in Mister. It hasn't been something that I need to always be in, because sometimes it lags Bitcoin, sometimes it's the head of Bitcoin, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. I'm not in Mister right now. I think you could just trade Ethereum. Bitcoin. Sorry, IBIT. If you want to be in something, and if you want to play Bitcoin to go up, just play IBIT. You don't need to be in Mister, because sometimes Bitcoin goes up and Mister doesn't. And if Mister's going up and Bitcoin's not up that day, chances are usually Bitcoin's up the next day. So use it as a barometer for something. I think Nvidia needs time. I got out of my Nvidia. First time in a while I'm out of Nvidia. Why am I out of Nvidia? Because you know what? If I'm a little worried about the market, if I'm in 25 things and in 25%, meaning I'm in a trailer, and we pull back 1%, oh my God, if I have 25% of 20 positions, that freaking adds up, and I'm trying not to do that. And I've been in, Nvidia since really here, and then this was my hyper focus for a money trade. And now I'm just out of it. Maybe I'll buy back in here, instead of just having a trailer on. But it's a little extended. It's, looking a little tired. It's still well above the 8-day. So I took it off. If you're an investor in Nvidia for 5 years now, you don't need to take it off. If you're an active trader and want to get paid in August like I am, maybe, you want to have a little less positions on. Either which way, got to pick and choose where you want to live. I also got out of my SMCI. Just, I played it through 52. I rolled up to $54 calls, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just day trade. If it takes out 54.20, I'll buy it in here. And I don't need 30% of my options going to zero with 20 other option plays. But it still looks fine. But maybe you want to be in special versus fine. QUBT, this is how you connect the dots. So yesterday, I'm in QBTS, QUBT, and IONQ, and then I see QBTS trying to break out above 20. And as it's trying to do that, I'm like, oh, this will help QUBT, it'll help IONQ. And as it's trying to break above it, those stocks were being sold. So then I'm like, wow. So if QBTS does a kind of a breakout failure and pulls in those stocks that are weaker and get hit, I better reduce my shares because that's going to hurt. So, I lost money there, but I kind of felt it happening. I thought maybe it would get above and stay above. Well, it didn't. Doesn't mean it's game over. It just means that it did a red dog reversal sell and it wasn't ready to do it. So QBTS now, needs to hold this area, but this was trying to push the group and the group was being sold into that. So I'm smaller. We'll see what happens with this QUBT. Kind of lagged. If you're in QUBT, I would put your stop right here at 17-ish. Hopefully it holds here and builds and goes. But again, if it doesn't, maybe we're in for a little summer quiet time. IONQ also, it looks okay. Just wasn't ready to break out. So if you're adding a tier for a breakout and it doesn't and pulls in, and now you have a base tier and a breakout tier, you're getting hurt. So hopefully this holds here and continues, but we'll see. Anyway, with that being said, PayPal breakout. I'm in options. I don't love this name. I do use it. Earnings are on 8-1. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. I started buying it though. I started buying options somewhere earlier, and I trimmed some, and I'm in a trailer. It's not a hyper focus, but it looks fine, off the bean path. Anyway, with that being said, it's 6:51. It's Tuesday. You have Powell speaking at 8:30. You have Tesla and Google tomorrow. Google definitely gave you a great pre-earnings move. I sold mine into yesterday, made me a ton of money. 5 different plays. Hopefully you did it. There's a gap right here. Maybe he wants to get in there prior. We'll see. And then you have to figure out, is it worth trading it? Because then if you also go back to Google and you go look at the weekly, it's kind of nowhere. It's not like Nvidia not Nvidia. It's not like Netflix that was making higher highs and higher highs. Like this is in the same spot it was, last summer, a year after 4 more quarters of earnings. So it's not the same name as Netflix. It wasn't price. Look at the chart of Netflix before. It wasn't enough. This is making higher highs the whole time. So Google is different than Netflix, and so is Tesla. Look at the Tesla chart. I haven't looked at it a weekly in a while, so let's do that real quickly before I let you guys go. It's kind of wedging here. Hasn't done a whole lot of anything in a long time. Like if you go back to 2021, it was higher. Okay, go back to here, it was higher. Granted, their EV business is lower. Last time I traded it, this was a nice move. Yeah, it's still in a big base. So it's not price. It's not like price for perfection. It's more like price saying, hey, is Elon not starting a third party? Is he done with politics, and is he going to start focusing more on autonomous and AI and robotics and stuff? So again, and there's a lot of shorts there. So I think there could be a play here, but again, it's not the same setup as a Netflix that's had a huge move. Either is Google. So they're a tiny bit more interesting, except for Google just had a major run into this spot where Tesla's just chilling out. Apple. Okay, let's look at Apple one more time. Apple, I'm in the stock. Apple, I bought some options. Apple's a pain. It's, we had a really great trade up, here, when they talked about maybe selling or buying an AI division or doing something. Meanwhile, you had you add on strength in Apple and you're in trouble. All the Mag 7s have not been like momentum names. They've just been like slow, almost like boomer names. Like I'm 52 years old. Apple's are like you need name to buy dips and let it go, not buy high and sell higher and have success like we've had with crypto and some other things. But anyway, it has that look. We'll see. Some of my institutional guys are buying it too, and they think it can go higher. It's lagged. This was at 260 in December. Hasn't done anything in 6 months. It is Apple. And I do think the foldable phone is big news. I think it'll start a major upgrade cycle. I know I'll get it. I know, I have a 60-inch TV in my house, and I feel like I find myself in my bed watching all my shows like this. I find myself when I'm on vacation or I'm at a treadmill like I was in Baltimore, writing my note on here. So everything. So if you could have a phone that folds, it's bigger to watch, to do your work, and then goes like this and can fit in your pocket, and then the technology is good, I think a lot of people will buy it. But anyway, we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, my dogs. Have a good day.